Ready to rumble. So part 2 of our pre-season predictions. We did the top 4 and then we analysed our top 2. We're now analysing our 3 and 4 and we'll be quicker this time, we promise. But I went for Man United 3rd and Chelsea 4th. Now the Chelsea 4th was a real tough one because I had Spurs and I scrubbed it out, and then I had Newcastle and I scrubbed it out, and then I had Liverpool and I scrubbed it out. And at one point I had Spurs at 7th. Spurs have ended up 7th, which we'll get to. But Chelsea have ended up in number 4, but it was really, really tight. So I didn't really know what to do with that. But I think the top 3 will be clear. I think it will be Arsenal, City, United, and then the top 4 is going to be a real juggernaut race.
Right, so let's get to thirds.
Who you pick? You pick.
I've got Liverpool.
Right, okay.
Liverpool.
Well, we'll start with you then, because I don't have Liverpool in my top 4. You've got them 3rd.
Yeah.
So why?
Well,
after the season they just had, which was ridiculously poor, looks like they're going to play almost the same players with worse players, right? So Fabinho's been replaced by McAllister, who I don't think is good enough.
McAllister's definitely.
Sabozale, right? Who's played in Farmers Leagues, and he's going to replace Henderson, the captain, the guy that gives you all your energy, all that stuff.
He's a different player.
No, I know he's a different player, but what I'm saying is that's the replacements at the moment, like for like, as in player for player. They haven't replaced Mane. We talked about this previously.
Yeah, but if you lose the striker and replace him with a defender.
No, I know, but I'm just saying they haven't replaced them. Yeah. And the 2 midfielders that have gone to the Saudis have been replaced by those 2 that I just mentioned, right? Not like for like, but different. What in your goddamn mind has made you think that they will go from 5th to 3rd?
Well, the reality is they had one of their worst seasons ever.
Which is what I just said, so you can hear me.
And they were 5th.
Yeah, true. So their worst season ever.
Right, and there was a point there, three or 4 games out, where I was still a little bit squeaky bum on United, and then they could have caught Newcastle again on the basis of a couple of bad results. Didn't happen.
Can I just say one thing? Right, if we had this podcast 1 year ago today, and we were predicting our top 2, 4, 6, 8, blah 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 blah, only a guy from the asylums would have not picked Liverpool 2nd.
Yeah, it
would have been Man City 1st and Liverpool 2nd, or even some might have gone Liverpool 1st because they got to the end of every competition, nearly got quadruple the year before.
On the verge of the best season.
For me, to fall so far, that's like Rangers or Celtic not coming 1st or 2nd, right? It's like Bayern Munich not coming 1st or 2nd. For Liverpool last year, for the team they had from the last 3 or 4 years they had success, to come 5th and burgled 5th, like at one point like 8th, right? Well, I'll double down on that, and I'll say how and what the fuck have they done to make you think they're going to get 3rd?
100%, mate. Look, you don't burgle anything. You either get there or you don't. And I looked at the results, and a real mixed bag. A couple of great results and a couple shockers. Often a good result.
I believe they beat a certain team 7-0.
I don't quite remember that, but we'll move on.
They did a 9-0 win and a 7-0 win. Was it Bournemouth and Man United? I believe it was.
We'll have to go back and check, mate.
Yeah, we'll check the record book.
So the reality is they played every game that you could possibly play as a football club.
The year before.
21-22.
Yeah. They won 2 cups. At one point, we're winning the league.
Yeah, it's
in the last day of the season, and at one point, in my opinion, the better team in the Champions League final. The goalkeeper was man of the match for Real Madrid. Could have got a treble. Could have got a quadruple.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been some kind of hangover.
100%.
Right.
You cannot deny. So I'll get to you cannot deny. There's an emotional hangover.
Yep.
After a season like that, you
then recruitment.
Yeah.
You said you'd signed.
Never had
said
one.
You were starting.
Never had one.
Okay.
You can never. So you can't dismiss the hangover, the emotional hangover of getting so close to the absolute peak of any season ever written, to then starting a season in the shortest turnaround, giving the Qatari World Cup. To then,
and he was big on playing the same 11 for 4 or 5 years.
Sure,
tried to play the same 11 this year, with the exception when he lost them.
Yeah,
but he did probably play them until they snapped.
They were absolute shot, Liverpool. There is absolutely no doubt about it. They were
again,
shot.
Let me go back to my original question. What the fuck has happened for you to go to 3rd?
If I get to it,
I know, but this is what I do. This is Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
This is good. Enjoy it, guys. Enjoy it. What
Skip
the
Bayless.
fuck?
Just Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
Just talk over the cunt. till
What
they
the
fucking get
fuck
started
have they
right.
done to get from 5th to 3rd? Come on,
Oh.
son, tell me.
So, if a season that construed as possibly the worst season for the last 7 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they came 6 or 7 his first season.
Yeah. So we say with 5 years, right? They've set a mark and they've faltered and a terrible season. We've seen what happened to Spurs. We've seen what happened to
Chelsea.
United previously. We've seen what happened to Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
For their shocker to be 5th is a testament to
Yep.
still how good a
I
team
get
they
that.
are.
I get
Okay?
that. Where's the
Now,
improvements?
negatively,
No, where's the improvements?
yeah, hold on a quick second. I'm going to further drop them under the bus by saying they've lost Milner, they've lost Fabinho, and they've lost Henderson.
So you're telling me they've lost the heart of the club,
Heart of the club, yeah.
and you've still picked them to go. So again, Stephen A. Smith style.
Yeah, this is the
What
punch.
the fuck
Yeah.
are they done to go 2 places higher?
History.
So
History.
you're
mate.
going all in history.
You cannot. Now they'll find us. They'll either get Lavia, likelihood. They'll pay the extra 5, right? And now, don't get me wrong, he's not replacing a
Farting
Fabinho.
around in the shit. Like,
100%.
here's another
Yeah,
bed, here's another bed, here's another bed.
100%.
That's not
Shocking.
Liverpool, as you said.
Yeah, 100%.
Anti-Liverpool.
Anti-Liverpool of recent time. I've just got this feeling that Klopp. I think Klopp
Is it
will
because
have
you
to
hate
play-
them and you go, it's easier to predict they do well, and then when they get it wrong, I feel
Yeah, it's
better?
slag 'em off.
Is it that? Because, like I said, I'll play devil's advocate
Yeah.
here. Nothing you've just said it's all
Gives you
negative.
optimism.
It's all
Yeah,
negative.
yeah.
Nothing gives me any
Okay, I'll tell you
confidence
the
that they could
I'll
make
tell you the
anything other than fifth again at best.
I'll tell you the positives. I think they'll be far better in defence this year.
Who did they sign that's going to make them far better in
Well,
defence?
I just think that
Oh, you just think?
with a proper break, they'll be back. I think Trent
Hungry
Alexander-
again because that's a
fair
fair
break.
point.
I mean, just something simple, mate. They've got Alisson, the best goalie in the league. They've then got
Van Dijk on his day can be the best
Yeah,
centre back in the
and
world,
they've
but he had a
got-
shocker last year, which makes me think he's on his way down.
They've got the best, or probably the most options up front than probably any team in the Prem. I think
Without a real finisher, though.
top 6. Well, mate, I mean, when you've got
There's not many that've got a real finisher. Like Man City's
Like,
got a real finisher.
I mean,
Spurs have got a real
yeah,
finisher. There's
I
not
mean,
many that do. So that's
they can all score goals.
Yeah.
So really, it's just the midfield, and the way Klopp's always played is the midfielders don't need to be geniuses. They need to play high intensity.
But they've lost Fabinho, when Liverpool, in my opinion, were the
Yeah.
best team in the world and the best to watch, and they won the league and
Yeah.
they won the Champions League.
He was shit hot.
He was the number one player.
Yeah.
He was the link to the strikers.
Yeah.
He was selfless. He gave it to Salah. He gave it to Mane. Didn't need the goals,
Yeah.
and he brought the midfield into play. Right, that midfield's
I've
grown.
just
They're
got- I've
old,
just got to
and
say-
Firmino's
yeah.
got the links
I just
going.
don't
Right?
think. I just don't think.
Salah's a great
Yeah.
player, but Salah's the greediest player in the
Oh,
league.
he is 100%.
Right,
Yeah.
Mane's gone.
Yeah.
Right, and they've
But
replaced him with
Louis-
lesser players.
Yeah, but I think Louis Diaz is a stud.
He's a good player. He's always injured. He's a good player.
Jota always gets on the end of goals.
Always injured.
Gakpo looks
Looks good.
quality.
Gakpo, I'll give you.
So they've got Sabozlai looks very talented.
Oh,
Now
send him the
now
fantasy, which means he's not going to do well this year
Now
because I've jinxed him.
he's more attacking midfield, so it should be interesting to see the formation they play. I do believe McAllister is a shrewd signing.
Yeah,
They've
I
still got
like the
Thiago.
signings.
They've
I
still
just
got
thought it was
Thiago.
good.
I do think they're 1 or 2 short in midfield. They have to get that resolved. But you don't take a team that's had their worst year, that almost won the quadruple, to then having their worst year for 5 years as 5th, to then, I think, being blown out the water. So
Okay.
I think there's still justification.
But you are
A
using
quick one.
more guesswork than.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, no,
but
this
you-
whole podcast is
yeah,
based on
but
guesswork.
You've got Chelsea, which is an absolute
And we'll get to
cowboy
that.
shout.
We'll get to
Yeah,
that.
the cowboy shout.
But wait a minute.
And-
Wait a minute. I'll go as far and I'll defend Chelsea at 4th as a better pick. And again, this is
Yeah,
the
and I'll tear
this
that
is
down
the this
very
is the
quickly.
9th.
And I'll tear that down
9th
very
of
quickly.
August 2023,
Yeah.
so this is before the season starts on Friday,
Yeah.
so we will all be slaves to the facts, right? I think Chelsea at 4th is a less stupid pick than Liverpool at 3rd, and we'll see. Liverpool might win the league, right?
You've got.
But
we'll discuss United.
I'm just saying,
because
we're
United
going to
at
talk
fourth.
why we picked, right?
Yeah.
So
I've
now
got
get-
United at 4th.
let's switch to
Yeah.
United at 3rd, my pick, right?
What? No,
and
you
why I
picked
picked them.
Chelsea.
What?
At 4th.
No, because I haven't picked why I picked United.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Oh no, actually, because you've got United in the top 4.
Yeah, we'll both talk.
We'll do
United.
that, right? So
Yeah.
I got Chelsea at 4, and I've said I've ridiculed your Liverpool at
Yeah.
3. I've ridiculed Liverpool at 3 for a number of reasons. In my opinion, the last 2 years have only got worse, right? Sold key.
2 years.
Well,
One
yeah,
year?
2 seasons. Well, one
One
full year, but 2 transfer, like 2. The end of last season when they lost Manny and never replaced him to this season,
Okay.
right? So it's still
It's 1 year.
yeah. If you work for the calendar
If we're
brigade,
being factual,
right? Anyway,
incorrect.
but since losing Manny, I don't think they have got any better, right?
Okay.
They've now lost Firmino, who, in my opinion, like I said, when they were at the glory days, he was the key, the linchpin. He's not been replaced. They've lost the captain.
Yeah.
And many. Right,
You
anyway,
can't
they
not
don't
like
have Sal. Oh, they've got Sal. They don't have Manny anyway. They don't have Bobby Firmino.
And they sold Coutinho.
Right. Anyway, they've lost Firmino. They lost Manny last year. They'll start at the start. Right.
Yeah.
Quadruple never happened. Last day of the season, Man City scored 2 late. Oh, I got what's his name? Gundogan, unbelievable. Courtois in the Champions League final. Could have had 4 trophies, got 2. Obviously, headache, hangover, all that, but Bazaz, the guy plays the same 11 whenever possible, so he's absolutely grinding them into the ground with his high press.
Yep.
Manny goes. Manny was number 2 in the Ballon d'Or that year, right? And I think if Liverpool,
he and Mahrez. I think he most importantly is the guy. That
but I think if Liverpool win that Champions League final, I think he gets the Ballon d'Or above Benzema. I actually do, right? So anyway, number 2 for the Ballon d'Or, and you let him go for peanuts.
Yeah. He was the guy that I was most disappointed to see go to the Saudi League, just because I don't think he wanted to go, but B, even though he played for Liverpool, God, how does no one from the Prem pick him
Someone
up?
should have got him. Yeah, anyway, that's a different story for a different day. But anyway, and again, one of those guys where I said, you talk about Declan Rice, the guy he spent all his money, still got an iPhone 8, but spends all his money building a town for his place in Senegal, right? A real good human being, right? And he's probably, and even he said, I want to stay and be a legend at Bayern. They said, no, we're selling you. He's only get paid stupid money, and he's thought to himself, I can put that stupid money into my town in Senegal. So I get him. He's a lovely guy, but he was first/second best player in the world, and they let him go.
Yeah.
Right.
But they've had a season without him.
Right. Okay. And that's what I'm saying. They didn't replace him, right? So they had a shit season because they didn't replace him. What has happened in the pre-season? They still haven't replaced him. They've let Firmino go. They've let the captain go. They've let Fabinho go, right? There's, in my opinion, there's 4 of your 11. Just a minute. There's 4 of your 11 players.
They've got 5 or 6 options up front.
I don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough as the players I just mentioned.
Diaz, Gakpo. I mean, of course, you can't just sign like for like every time.
Exactly. And
I mean, Firmino's been off the trolley for a few years.
You cannot sign like for like every time.
Firmino's
But
been
I
off
am
the
giving
trolley.
you my evidence why I don't think they're going to be as good, and you're giving me evidence why they should. And the evidence you're supplying is not anything other than history and a feeling, right? I'm giving you facts why I think they'll be rubbish or less, right? And anyway, Liverpool could do it. Again, they're one of those clubs that you think when they're at their absolute weakest, they can go win every game, right? But I'm just telling you, they haven't replaced world class players, right?
Their issue is not up front; it's in midfield.
Okay.
That's
so I have picked United at number 3.
Okay, but tell me why? Because let's compare notes at United. 3 or 4 doesn't make a big difference, right? Let's compare.
So we're almost in agreement that they're going to be in the Champions League spots, but it could be 3rd or 4th.
Yeah,
same as this year.
But we'll discuss United.
Okay, so you're asking why I picked Chelsea as high as 4th.
Yeah, because this.
And where did you? Wait, can I just ask before we go further?
Yeah.
Where do you have Chelsea finishing?
As much as I love Poch, 7th or 8th.
Okay, so there is a bit of a big gap on that.
So clearly you're not right. So tell me why you think you are.
Okay, so you were right about Liverpool, and I'm wrong.
And
even though this is before the season's kicked off.
Yeah.
And now you want me to tell you why I'm wrong with Chelsea as well.
Yeah, I mean they won a trophy in America, mate, which is like Arsenal winning the Charity Shield, mate.
It's nothing to do with it. Chelsea are the only team in the whole league that are able to come last and win the league next year. They're the only team that could do that.
No.
They have the bounce back ability of a stallion, right? That no one in that club has any focus on anything other than winning the top trophies, right? They will. Let me finish. You can then argue, okay. Right? Let me talk. Chelsea are the one team who they don't need to go 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th. They can go 11th then win. They've done it before. They've done it many times, right? The 2 times they won the Champions League, I don't think they actually finished in the top 4, right? The time they Mourinho got sacked, became 11th, and then the next year Conte won them the league.
Who
They
won
are
the
a
club
bounce
then?
back ability team.
Who won the club?
Poch, listen, Poch is the manager. Doesn't matter. I know you can say Abramovich. That's a fair point, but Poch is now a really good, successful manager without being a winner, stone cold winner. He's a very good manager. They're going to be streets better than they were. They'll get the best out of Mudryk. I'm sorry Nkunku got injured for a number of reasons. One, I signed him in the fantasy football. But two, I think he was a focal point. The boy Jackson looks really good in that fast press team. And that's why I think Mudryk will be great. I think Enzo's going to have a really good season. I think they probably need one more centre-back, but they just got that other guy.
I think I've got about 10 to now.
I know, but I mean a quality one. But we'll see if this one's good. Kepa's going to have another good season as a goalkeeper. I think he's a good goalie. If you get a fit Chilwell and a fit Reece, that's a really good fullbacks. It's a good team for me. I think they do need more midfielders. You're right. The because of the Saudi and the fair play stuff, and they got a chance to cash in on a few. They're probably a little bit light, but we're at, again 9th of August. We have 22 more days to sign. Chelsea with 22 hours could get 5 or 6 players, right?
Yeah.
With 22 days, I still think there'll be more to see. And again, to back you up, picking Liverpool for 3, I just got a feeling. I
got a feeling. Ooh. The reason why that feeling should not be valid anymore is, I know I said that, touched on the point there, they're not Abramovich's team anymore. The point around Abramovich is that he would buy winning managers and winning players that would be able to turn it around. If they didn't, they were then sacked and moved on. The model now under Bowley and Cleo
by everyone.
is well, it's completely different. It's almost a model of Brighton to a lesser degree, in a sense that they are buying players that are sub 24 years old. Arsenal are doing the same thing, but again, probably
it's not rocket science.
Yeah, but the reality is they're buying all these young players that have got no experience winning anything. To then, don't get me wrong, best manager to coach that team in Poch, who is a gun amongst
the best available by a mile. Definitely best available.
Yeah, but in coaching, that's
but that's important because you get your top 5 managers in the world. Blah blah blah. They're not always available. He was the best available. Well, I think it's a great pick.
Nagelsmann was available.
I don't think Nagelsmann's as good as Poch.
I don't know enough about. He's coaching the German league, so is he good enough to? I'm assuming the guy's a gun, right? Is he as good as one more than Poch? But he's he's coaching the Farmers League.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Steven Gerrard's won a league title at Glasgow Rangers.
Yeah,
doesn't make him Mourinho.
No, mate, I'm a massive Poch fan, but the reality is this is not Abramovich's Chelsea that can do what they've done before, because they don't buy the same players. They don't buy this. They haven't brought in the same managers. And
it's a different time, though. It's a different time.
Exactly. And so this.
But anyway, let's keep it moving.
The quick one is.
Let's keep it moving.
The quick one is. Kepa is bottom 5 goalkeepers in the Prem.
Oh, that's such a big statement.
Easily bottom 5 goalkeepers in the Prem. And
top 3 last year.
No, he's not, mate. He's
no,
shot.
Honestly,
he is,
for me, the best 3 goalies last year, because the shot stopped, all that stuff.
Shot.
The boy, Sanchez, no, maybe top 4 then. Sanchez, Sa, Pope, and I would have had Kepa.
He's absolutely awful.
Okay.
And
you hearing this, James Mason?
Awful.
You can comment on
Kepa,
the link below.
Kepa Azriga Balaga, whatever your name is, mate, he's absolutely garbage. And finally, again, like Liverpool, albeit I think Liverpool are a more settled squad, there's 3 or 4 players short in midfield, given they've sold so many. So you're talking about a new defence in centre midfield, new strikers, new wingers, new coach, no midfield.
Okay, cool. Right, let's move on. That's the top 4. We're going to go
touch on United. What do you like about United?
What I like about United is the manager, number 1, right? And it's the reason I picked Poch and Chelsea to come forth, because I really back the manager. Now, it was a heads or tails for me with Spurs, because I really think Ange Postecoglou is a great manager as well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Spurs have ended up 7th in my list. And again, that might come down to the fact I'm an Arsenal fan and I've kind of pushed them down. But at one point, I had them 4th. But anyway, to get back to United, I've got them 3rd because I think that he's the 3rd best manager in the world, right? Ten Hag, I think he's a fantastic manager. He takes responsibility. They've backed him at the board. They've given him money. He's spent more money in the last 2 or 3 years than any other club. Some of it again, that's not his fault because he's the manager of Man United. Man U always get burgled, right, and have to pay overs, have to pay Man U tax. But I think he's done really well. I think he's a winner. I think Rashford on the extension will have his best season ever. I think Fernandes as a captain hopefully is less greedy than he's been last season.
I don't think he's ever greedy.
He was greedy last season in my opinion, but I think he'll be less greedy. I think Casemiro's now got a full pre-season under what Ten Hag wants, which is going to make him even hungrier and better. They're lacking goals. This guy Hodgson hopefully scores 30 because I've got him in my fantasy. But he's probably a year too shy. But anyway, a year in that squad will help. Again, that's why I've got them third, not winning it. Right? But I don't think even Ten Hag would say he's going to win the league this year.
No.
Right? But if Ten Hag gets a clear third in a trophy like he got last year, again, it's progress as long as you can see that he's got rid of some of the deadwood, like the Maguires, like the Martials, and replaced them with key, like Hodgson, young up-and-coming players, the Martinez's and the centre-backs, right, those kind of things, then that's why I'm going for Man United to get third. I just think they have a good enough squad to play well, but they have a great coach.
Yeah, certainly agreed on the coach side, mate. I mean, I think he's been extremely decisive, and that's what I think that's what United's lacked.
Well, you have Fergie, who dominated for 25 years as a manager. Wasn't just a manager, probably cleaned the boots, right? He was a GM, the PM, the fucking no one got sold up. No, just him. Right? I know, but what I'm saying, imagine losing a guy that did all of that, and then you've got to replace him with 15 other people, right? Yeah. Ten Hag's the first person in 10 years that's came in and gone, I've got respect, right? Not a Woodward or a this guy or a that guy, right? Yeah. He's come and said, I want control. Yeah. And it's obviously only been a year, but I think give him 2 or 3 years, he'd be winning leagues with Man United because he's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only caveat to that is, does that fall in line with the Casemiro Varane timeline? But look, nothing's perfect, just in terms of their age and getting on. But really like what they've done in the transfer window. I think the big issue, and was certainly the issue last year, is they did not score enough goals.
Yeah, we 30 goals less than the top three.
Top three, okay.
Right. When I say top three, I just mean Newcastle, because Arsenal was more than that and Man City was double.
Yeah. And we haven't cured that. The reason being is, look, I mean, the guy got third when he's had to buy Weghorst in the middle of the year. Yeah. I mean, that's a credit to Ten Hag.
It's also a credit to keep him to his system. He needed it. He'd rather have a fucking palm tree and the number 9 just to play system than play a Ronaldo, right? Yeah. And I, like I said again, that's why I respect him. I think he's got championship DNA written all over him.
I mean, I think there's pressure on the United to have as good a year as they did last year in defence. I think Mason Mount would be critical. I think Onana in the build-up play to United getting into the final third would be critical. I think
he'll be better in attack. Onana as a goalie. I don't know if he's as good a shop stopper as De Gea.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this day and age, would I have done the same trade? Yes.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm trying to say. I think moving upwards in terms of first third, that'll be Onana. Second third with, I think, Mount. I think he'll integrate really well within the team. I just think
Hodgson play?
Hodgson will play, yeah. But look,
focal point or next year's focal point?
Well,
embed him in this year.
Well, he's injured now, so I think the idea is if you consider the amount of times as a United fan I've seen the ball run across the box.
Yeah, and there's no one there.
And Martial hanging out at the edge of the box going, give it to me. It's like, mate, you've got no idea.
Yeah, and as good as Rashford, Rashford's not a 9. No, he's never.
So the lad on pure determination, the like will score 10-15 for me. Don't get me wrong.
For me,
for you.
I got him in the fantasy.
For injuries permitted, but I think at the end of the day, what will count against United, unless wink wink, there's something in the Harry Kane story that somehow we nab him at the end of the year, which I've got.
That's ginger beer, not heroin. Right, Harry Kane's not going to Man United.
I've got a
scoop, guys. Harry Kane's not going to Man United.
I've got a 5% hope in my heart that happens, where Højlund then is the next gen, and that'll be brilliant. Mm-hmm. And I think United can then challenge, but at the moment we're 25 goals short at the moment. So got United fourth, you third makes sense. I think United are a lot more stable. Another year under Ten Hag, we should really see United kick on. albeit a lot of pressure in the midfield and defence to hold up, because I just still don't see where the goals are coming from.
Cool.
Unless Anthony has a big year.
Okay, cool. And Anthony could have a second season syndrome where he goes bananas, but I just don't rate him as a good player. I think he was a bit of a dud.
I don't think he's a bad player.
And I rate him in the duds of Pepe at Arsenal, Fabio Silva at Wolves. No, I'm putting him in categories where you break the transfer record, you go bananas for a player, and they're just not as good as you thought.
You're putting him in that bracket?
I'm putting him in that bracket, but...
Surely he's not in that bracket as it is.
He's got a second season to get me out of that bracket, but a guy that just twirls round in it, right, and doesn't know how to pass. Anyway, I don't...
Should we get to 5 and 6 next?
Yeah, let's have a quick break, and then we're going to go 5, 6, 7.
Right.